Today we're covering rifle emergency procedures. Whether you're transitioning to a secondary weapon or you are reloading your rifle because it's gone empty, we're gonna break down how you can do that as efficiently as possible in today's video. Let's get into it. Now, I've talked about it in other videos as far as a priority list, a tier list of skills that I want to develop, whether it's the rifle or pistol. Reloads and emergency procedures aren't necessarily up there on my tier 1 list. I want to be a proficient shooter before I even think about manipulating the gun. Obviously, as you guys know, if you're watching this video, there is a time and place, and you got to know how to operate that rifle, how to get it topped off when it goes empty. So the beauty of this is we can always dry fire at home with reloads, pistol or rifle, or just transitioning to the pistol. We have an overdeveloped draw with the pistol. It's going to translate over when we're manipulating the rifle when it goes empty. So to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a full magazine. I'm going to load it in here. I'm going to charge it, make sure I have one round. I'm then going to take an empty magazine, place it in there so that I can simulate light reduced recoil on the rifle. The bolt locks to the rear. I feel that. I'm now reinforcing that in my training habits. And then when I transition to the pistol, I can go through that process. Stuff this in my pocket. All right, so transitioning to the pistol, that was a 2.50 overall, 8.6 first shot, 1.64 split to the pistol. Typically, I'd like to be at like a 1.2 or 1.3 out of retention, sometimes even faster. But for my first shots of the day, good A-zone shots from about 15, 20 yards or so back here. What are we doing when we're transitioning this rifle? A couple things we got to consider. How's my sling set up rather? And how am I placing this rifle to my support side? Those are the two big things that we got to consider. So if I run it like a seatbelt, how is it going to lay flat? And then how am I going to rotate the rifle? Am I going to just lay it down? Or am I going to rotate it inside so that it secures more to my body and then I can present up with the pistol? My philosophy on this, and this is going to differ from some of you, so feel free to comment down below, is just to let the rifle fall to the side. Whether I'm in it like a seatbelt or wearing it like a necklace, I'm just dropping the rifle. I guide it with my support hand as I go to the pistol. However, I'm not super concerned about how this thing rests against me. Could be a concern if you're moving, but again, I can still move with my rifle, still manipulate it, get behind cover potentially, and then still get to my pistol. I don't feel as though when I rotate this in, it's any more secure necessarily. It's still gonna be flopping around as I run. And that includes if I'm wearing it like a seatbelt too. A little bit more secure here, but again, it's still going to be moving around as I move and it's gonna be bouncing. So because it's an emergency procedure, because I need to get this rifle out of the way, I don't tend to overcomplicate this process. I go empty, bang, I activate the safety, at least try. I may miss it, but I at least try, and then I get to the pistol and I get up as quickly as possible. I tend to just lay it down. I tend to just wear it like a necklace, play with all 4 variations, and determine what's best for you. All right, 379. I'll just show it real quick, 379. Do that, 357. And 335. So let's talk about the reload with the rifle. Inherently, it's typically, depending on your skill set, going to be slower than transitioning to the pistol. That's common. You'll see that on the internet. And as you see by my times, that tends to be the case, even by upwards of a full second faster to get to the pistol. Now, depending on your distance to your adversary, depending on what cover is available, depending on if you're moving and you're not just staying static, that will dictate your decision to either reload the rifle or go straight to your secondary. I think especially at distance, we need to consider just reloading the rifle because it's a more powerful tool. If I'm able to move and do it, if I'm able to gain cover and do it, then that might be, in that particular situation, more advantageous for me versus going to the pistol. But if it's close quarters, close proximity, I need to get that pistol out, bang, 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 then that's what I'm gonna do. So I would encourage you guys to play with both. However, let's talk about breaking down this rifle and how I like to reload. For me personally, as this thing falls out and I go to another magazine, I have an empty one in here to demonstrate. It is faster typically for me to stay stock in the shoulder. So I shoot, drop, this thing just comes straight up, and I try to get as high on the magazine as possible so that when I seed this thing, I go right to the bolt catch. Some guys will slap. That's wasted movement in my opinion. This thing's perfectly set up for your thumb. So as I come up and I hit this bolt release, for the purposes of demonstration, this thing goes empty. I drop, I come underneath, I hit it all one motion, and I've loaded around now. So when we're grabbing it out of our pouch, it's really important that we get as much as we can of the magazine, as high up on the magazine as we can. So as we roll this thing into the mag well, I'm able to do everything in one motion, put it in the mag well, and as I slide my hand up, hit that bolt catch release so I can get back on sights faster. That's gonna be pretty universal. That's gonna be kind of, you know, no question about it. That's a faster way to do it than to slam it home, hit it with our palm like you see guys do. I don't like that. Guys will talk about fine motor skills. Trigger's a fine motor skill, bolt catch is a fine motor skill, but with practice, under stress, you're still gonna be able to hit it, trust me. The two different ways that we're breaking this down, I either stay in the shoulder pocket or I tend to break it down here, but I stay vertical. The rifle is not like your pistol. So when I go to reload the pistol and I grab, let's say I grab an extra magazine, I roll this thing in, biomechanics, everything lines up perfectly. I have that slowdown period and then I'm able to load that in. It's not quite the same with the rifle because the magazines are angled slightly. So I tend to like to come right underneath and I find that mag well a lot easier. As opposed to rolling it, extra movement and coming here, you'll notice that it's not the same. Notice my wrist is bent. This thing is angled this way, so I have to come in here. With enough practice, you can get better at it. But again, just coming straight underneath, it's gonna slide in. That's what I would encourage guys to do. Come right underneath, as opposed to moving too much, coming upright, and then sticking it in. You might be able to get that angle right. But again, if you notice, because we have that beer can grip with the rifle magazine, it's not the same as when we grab for that pistol, where I'm just able to feed it in with the index as a reference point, feed it into the magazine. So that is an important distinction between rifle and pistol. So whether I'm in the shoulder pocket and I reload this thing straight underneath, or I break it into my armpit and I come in, I still keep it relatively straight up and down to get that magazine in. The beauty of taking this stock and placing it under my armpit is I have more stability, and as you can see, I can move and be able to get that thing into the mag well just fine even on the move. More stability with the rifle as opposed to this thing floating and then me potentially missing it. Some guys will float it over the shoulder. I think this is a viable option as well, but this gets fatiguing. I mean, where are we at in the fight? How long have we been holding this rifle? Those are all questions you gotta ask yourself. This is super fatiguing. I have one hand, bent wrist. Like, why not just take it under my armpit to where I can get that thing in the mag well, stabilize the gun while I move. That tends to be my preference, but I practice both because one is inherently faster than the other. So keeping the stock in the shoulder, less movement, that tends to be faster for most folks. But if we need to be able to move, we need another option. Now, while a lot of these drills can be completed just one reload one transition one, or we can even do it in dry fire, you know, a drill that I do like, that is, you know, something that's been around for a relatively long period of time, is the check drill. This is gonna be one, I'm gonna go empty in my rifle, I'm gonna transition pistol, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm then going to holster, get that empty magazine out of the rifle, new magazine in, back on sights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a fun drill for you guys to try out at home, and I'll demonstrate it right here once I get my stock fixed. All right, not quite where I want it. 974 overall. Just doing this cold, not something I practice too often. However, we had a decent 4.93 split. So that's the time it took for me to get my pistol into the holster and then my gun back up. So just a couple of drills, couple of skills, and a couple of things to keep in mind to improve on your efficiency with the rifle, reloading, as well as with the pistol. Really understand that things with the rifle are different than the pistol at times. So we need to make sure that when we're building that skill set on how we grip the pistol, it's different than how we grip the rifle. How we reload the pistol may be a little bit different than how we reload the rifle. So practice this at home. All this can be accomplished through dry fire. Let me know your comments down below, your thoughts on how you would typically reload the rifle, how you would transition to the pistol, whether that's rotating the gun outboard or just letting it lay down. I want to hear from you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, leave us a like, and give us your thoughts down below. I'm Josh with Force Frontier. We will see you on the next video.